starting with Ms. Hoskins-Sanders.
Just want to thank Campbellsville University for putting on this mayoral forum today. I think most of you all know that I am Sharon Hoskins-Sanders. I was born and raised in Campbellsville, Kentucky. I have one son, Marlon. I have three grandkids and 2 great-grandkids. My husband, James. My education started at Durham School and went on to Campbellsville College then. Had my banking experience through the University of Louisville Banking School, so it's the University of Wisconsin. I want to be your mayor for the next 4 years, and I am experienced. I have been on the city council for 10 years. Prior to that, I have experience in city government. I was on the Campbellsville Housing Board, and also I was on the Campbellsville Taylor County Youth Leadership. I participated in that program, and various other civic duties that I have been involved in.
Thank you, Mrs. Sanders. I'm sorry, we must move on. Mr. Young?
Thank you for inviting me. You know, progress involves risk. You can't steal second base and keep 1 foot on first base. I have a sense of purpose. Whenever you have company coming, you clean house, you put things in order, and you make things look their best. I want people and businesses to have a good, positive experience when they come to my town. Campbellsville is a city that works. Campbellsville is a city that's building for its future. That's what I'm doing for mayor. I believe in building things. I believe in making things better, and I believe we should do it together.
My name is Brenda Allen, and I have served in city government for 12 years in the past, and I find it very exciting to work with the people. I feel like if you're the mayor or any official, that you work for the people because they've elected you. Not only that, they pay the taxes, which pays your salary. So therefore, I feel like being a servant to the people of Campbellsville is a great honor, and I just hope that I have that opportunity again in my lifetime. So that's why I'm running for the mayor's position again.
My name is Stephen Seebeck. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I'm excited to answer the questions and let everybody know why I'm running for mayor. I've always wanted to get into city politics. I've followed it all my life. The biggest reason that I got into wanting to run for mayor was July of last year when me and my wife had my daughter, and I kept thinking, if our city doesn't change and we can't progress forward, then there's not going to be a city for her, for future kids, grandkids. So I feel like if we don't start now, then all the kids are going to have to move away to find better jobs, better opportunities in life that they can have here. So, I hope to give everyone enough insight to kind of help gain their support and gain your vote so we can help move Campbellsville forward.
Good evening. My name is Patty Phillips. I have lived in Campbellsville for the last 38 years. I come from a military family, so Campbellsville is my home. I've been on the city council for the last 20 years serving the citizens, and I enjoy that job. I've been in politics since I was 18 because coming from a military family, you're taught that you follow that president that is for the military. So I've always known about politics. My children were raised here, and I love Campbellsville, and I would like to see Campbellsville grow and the commerce of the city grow, and it be the ideal place for our families.
Good evening. My name is Roger Robertson. I'm the father of 3 beautiful children. One is 13, one is 9, and one is 4. Beautiful wife. We've been married 17 years. In the ministry, through the ministry, this month I celebrate 20 years. And in that, I have learned throughout that to be a servant. And I want to serve the community. I do that in the church, And I think that our city's great, but I would love to be the mayor. I think that some new ideas, new direction is needed, and I look forward to having that opportunity if allowed. Thank you.
Thank you all. First question, please.
As mayor, what would be your top priorities for Campbellsville and why?
My top priority would be to actually try to get industry because growth is an essence for any community. I think since for 2010 to 2014, we've had a 5% growth. And everybody knows the more jobs we have, the more revenue that the city will have to operate, and we can do bigger and better things.
Okay. Good question. Thank you very much. You know, my top priority has always been finances and budgets and always making the best of what I have to work with. Throughout my career, I would work out and I would be put in places to where it was a challenge. No one wanted to go, wanted to figure out things and make it work. So that's what I love doing. That's what I've done all of my life. You know, budgets are important to me. Building things, making things better for our community, looking and making the best of what we have to deal with is so important right now. And that's one of the things I think I've been very successful at doing. I don't make decisions just real quick. I study about them and think about them, pray about them, and things have a way of working out. You know, sometimes I think this job is a challenge, and I wonder sometimes, you know, how things going to work out. But, you know, God has a plan, and things work out the way it's supposed to if you're focused and you give your best effort to do your research and your homework and do the best for everybody involved. Thank you.
I think that created interest in industries, trying to attract people to open factories and give us some jobs. It's really sad when we think about how many of our people have to drive out of town in order to work. So I think we need to figure out a way that we have something that to offer the industries. I know we already have Green River Lake, we have 3 different great schools, we have a university, and basically we have a lot of good people that would like to work in this community. And I just think that we need as a group or a community to work on this situation. I don't think just one person can do everything. But I do think that I would feel really good if my kids didn't have to go out of town to work. So I just look forward to being the mayor again and doing what I can do to bring industry to this area.
Bringing jobs is a top priority, but my number one priority is the kids in the community, fixing the park, revitalizing the pool, you know, giving them something to do, because essentially they are the future. If we don't allow them things to do now, then, you know, there's nothing for them as of right now to do this summer, especially besides possibly go to the park or swimming at the lake or out of town to another city pool that's actually open, Somerset for their water park, that the things that we can have here. My biggest focus has always been, you know, my kids, and I want to make sure that they have something in the town rather than, you know, them having to leave. Job growth will come with that, but it's all about, you know, having something to want people to come to town. So if there's things for kids to do, parents will bring their kids here. Parents will find places here to work, places here to eat.
One of my top priorities would be to balance the budget and to get us out of debt. And by doing that, I feel like we could provide insurance for our city employees and a raise, which is something that they do without a lot of times. And I know that as we go look for jobs, that's one of the most probably important things that we look for is the benefits that we'll receive. Also, jobs are very important, and like some of the others said, my children, only one of my 3 children live here, and I would like to see Campbellsville become a community where our young people stay here and not leave and go to bigger cities or move away because there's nothing here for them. And of course, the youth, if we don't start, you know, capitalizing on our youth, that's where we lose them. So those are the things that I would like to see as a mayor done.
Well, same as well for me. There's very little industry here. There's really, as far as if you're looking for a job, there's not a lot to draw you here. I have 3 children, and I know as they grow, and the career path that my oldest one is thinking about going into, she probably, well, as of now, can't stay here. That's a big thing. Another thing that is big on my priority list is hazardous pay for the MS. I've heard and people have spoken to me about that, and I think they deserve that. And for whatever reason, it's been taken, and I would like to see that given back to them. So, in essence, I would love to see more jobs, love to see things for children, and then, of course, hazardous pay.
Thank you. For our second question,
As mayor, how would you support the local education systems to create a better educated workforce?
I'm sorry, would you please repeat that?
As mayor, how would you support the local education systems to create a better educated workforce?
Okay. I would like to continue to invest. We have a workforce development building being built in the old Taylor County Elementary School, and that's going to be a lot of training, on-the-job training to help people with advanced skills, and the city has supported that. We gave like $150,000 last year to start of the budget year when it wasn't in the budget, but it's important. The council felt it was important. I feel like it's important to educate our jobs so that we can recruit industry to come here. We have a good workforce here. We need to also work in keeping the industry that we have and learn to be able to support them and give them the help that they need in order to continue to have employees. They need people now. They're looking for people to hire now.
I'm not sure I understood the question because I didn't hear you very plainly. Do you mind stating it again?
As mayor, how would you support the local education systems to create a better educated workforce?
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. I think that one of the things that we need to instill in our children is the importance of getting a good education and having good work habits. I know there are a lot of industries that are in an adjoining town, and people don't really want to go to work. They will work 2 or 3 days and miss 2 or 3 days. So I'd like for us to have a place to teach our children how important it is to be able to be independent, to take care of yourself, and to be able to do a good job. Really bothers me that so many of our youth wind up going to other cities to work or moving out to another state. I'd like for Campbellsville to be the place they want to live, and I'd like for us to have something to offer them in the future.
When I think about the question, it actually brings back to my middle school days where we actually did a reality town in the gym. That's something I think if school systems don't do that the city should help do, where businesses can come, tell kids about what the jobs are like, what it takes to have the job. We learned in doing that how to balance checkbooks, how to better manage your money for buying groceries, buying cars, what you can get by working. I think that's something that should be taught at school, or should I guess be brought back if it's not still there, because that gave me a lot of real life lessons there to know what to expect when I get out in the real world, as far as what it's going to take to pay bills, and then again bringing more jobs is going to help the kids want to stay and give them better opportunities of different job choices.
As mayor of Campbellsville, I think that we should let our teachers know that what an asset they are to our community. And so if I had to go to the governor and talk to him about education for Campbellsville, I would, because I'm that spokeswoman for Campbellsville. Not everyone goes to college. Now, Campbellsville University is a jewel in our community, but we need skilled workers. So in our education system, as those kids are growing up, they need to learn life skills, and that can be taught in the school situation. Also, I just feel like our youth are, they're just valuable, and that's where we need to start it, is with our youth.
In the school system, I feel like we overlook, we push K-Prep and all these things, and that's great. But I've got a 13-year-old and a 9 and a 4, and they assume that money just flows. I guess they just think Dad's got it all. And so they're constantly wanting it. And so we need to teach these children, in order to have stuff, you've got to be able to earn an income. All right, so if the average income in Campbellsville is $25,000, $30,000, how do you balance the budget for your household off of that amount? Whatever your goal is in life, however you want to live, what do you need to do in order to get there? So if you want to live at a $100,000 a year pay scale, then you've got to have the education to do so.
Okay, first, I do want to thank our school systems, Campbellsville University, Campbellsville Independent, Taylor County, the Christian schools. I think we have great facilities. And I think sometimes our children, the majority of the children and their parents, some of their skills, we have to start them at home. We have to teach them, how to treat people and how to be in society and be able to cope. Once they get into the school systems, I think, of course, with our career center, as Tony had mentioned, that being open, that will better enable them to become these employees that we are looking for around here in the city. And again, it will enhance our industry growth, business, small businesses, restaurants, etc. But I do think that if the parents would start training them at home, the school systems get them, and then they will go on and train for some kind of skill or even come to the universities, and it better enable them to find a good job.
Thank you. Now on to question 3.
As mayor, what would you do to support Campbellsville's large, unseen homeless population and the programs that serve them?
Well, I think that being the mayor, I'm currently part of the Green River Ministries homeless shelter. And I think we really need to work with the people that we already do to some extent, but I think there's a lot of people out there that we can't reach or haven't reached. And I think that if there was maybe a program that was set up by the government that worked with the people, it would be easier for the homeless people to find a place to stay. It's just a difficult situation any way you look at it, to think that there are people with no food, no home, and especially children. So I think as a mayor, we should be working with the different organizations that are already out there, and if we need to have new organizations, we need to develop them.
Well, over the last several months, my campaign team's actually teamed up with the Sonic here, and we've donated a lot of items. I feel like if we get that bond with different businesses in town to help donate items that it's not really going to cost them an arm and a leg, they will get on board. I also feel like there's a way we can budget money to help give back to them, and also bring in different events to help donate money back. There's a big event I've talked to a guy about a barbecue festival that certain cities have. It's a competition. It brings in, at one point, 10,000 people. Admission costs are all donated back to the Green River Ministries homeless shelter. But I feel like if we get on board and budget the money right and get the community involved, then we'll be able to give back to everyone that's in need.
As for our homeless, I think that they need to be taught job skills, and that is our duty to do that through the Green River Ministries or churches. A lot of times if a person's homeless, they lack pride in themselves or respect, and so I think that that's something that each one of us needs to do, and I'm going to refer to the Bible, and the Bible tells us that we're, supposed to help those who are needy. So I think that it's something that everyone needs to do. It's not just a mayor's thing, but it's a community thing. So I think the whole community needs to be involved in that.
Well, my church is involved in that. We actually drive to Elizabethtown once a month and feed the homeless up there. So we have a unlimited amount of resource right here in Campbellsville. It's like she said, it's not just the mayor's job or the city's job. Churches would help if they were asked. I used to be in the association up here, great group of churches, great group of pastors, and they would certainly help. There again, they're not asked. Now, in Greensburg, where I pastor, we have a program, and our church is starting, we're building a facility now just for that. And so that will help the homeless. You feed them, you help with shelter. In Elizabethtown, they have a shelter where they could come and spend the evening. And some of the churches are opening up their doors and doing that. So here we've got unlimited amount of churches, any denomination, and I'm satisfied most of them, if not all of them, would certainly help us with that need.
As mayor, I hope to reduce our number of homeless people in our community. I think right now we have right at 100 homeless people who are not sheltered during the cold, and we can do better. I think, of course, the homeless people, most of them, they have no family, their drug problems, alcohol problems, women and children who are abused, and they either don't have family members or they just don't feel like they want to go into up under their roof. I think the best way to reduce that number is to work with the agencies that are already in place, the Green River Ministries, and we are going to have to find seek funding to open other shelters. We will work with the county governments, community members, and any other agencies who are willing to work together with us to implement this assistance program.
I think we need to work with our local churches. We have several churches in the community that work very hard in supporting people and training and teaching people. Of course, we have Green River Ministries that does an outstanding job now, and they have fundraisers throughout the year, so we need to help them in all that we can do to support our current people that are working very hard to service our homeless, and then it's just mainly, I feel like it should come from the church community, because the church, that's what they're doing. They're reaching out. And as Roger mentioned, our local churches, there's several of them, and they love doing this type of work, and we just need to support them and continue to do all we can with them to give them the resources and support them in any way that we can.
Thank you. On to our next question.
As mayor, how would you save money and increase revenue for the city of Campbellsville?
The easiest way to save money is to have a balanced budget. You see where you can cut funding, without diving into the whole budget. I mean, honestly, I can say right now, I don't know where we could cut, but I'm sure there's cuts to be made. We can cut back on frivolous spending, the biggest issue. If we put the money where it's at, then it's going to work better for us. Increasing revenue, I feel like if we bring in more jobs, bigger restaurants, we have a great variety of restaurants and jobs, but right now we're basically a fast food town. If we can bring more sit-down restaurants, bigger industries, that's going to bring more people. The more people that start coming, they're going to get the same idea that people I talk to that work out of town. I don't want to drive every day. Let me just buy a house in Campbellsville. I'll pay taxes there. That adds more money. So if we add more jobs and more restaurants, and then we add another 10,000 people, we're going to grow, and our pocketbooks are going to grow as well.
As mayor, I feel like we need a change, and that's some of the things that I've been saying as I go out and campaign. We do need to save money, but at the same time, we need to watch our spending of projects that don't really need to be spent on at the time. I feel like as the mayor, if you balance that budget, you're going to have more money to use for the proper things that need to be done. And I don't want to say, I don't want to do any name calling, which I'm not, but, if you're allowed to spend $20,000 and your project is going to cost $40,000, you need to get with your city council and talk to them and see, I got this $40,000 budget, and you're the council, guide me into what I need to do. As far as revenue, I think with more jobs coming into town, that will create more revenue. I think with families staying here, that'll increase our tax base. So those are some of the things that I'm thinking about.
Same thing, I think more jobs obviously increases revenue. Balancing the budget is very difficult. Every year I sit down with the committee and we balance a budget for a year long. And in that, we look at what is brought in throughout the year. And then we have to somehow devise a plan on how that money's going to be spent throughout the year. Now, this year we've had to cut back in some areas because some of the money coming in has been cut. Same thing applies in a government setting. If there's not as much cash flow, obviously you can't spend as much. And so at places that it's got to be cut, you just have to cut it, wherever that area is. And I'm sure there's areas we waste money on, and in your household you waste money. So wherever those areas are at, you have to eliminate those or cut them way back. Thank you.
Okay. As far as balancing our budget, again, it is a very difficult thing, and especially when you have all your dollars spread out over departments, different departments. However, working closely with the department heads, knowing where they are on a day-to-day, month-to-month basis, I think in that way, working together, we can keep this budget balanced. We're going to have to look at our non-essential items and try to cut back until we are able to increase revenue through factories, restaurants, or whatever. I will make sure that all of your taxpayers' dollars are spent wisely. Financial integrity is the foundation upon which success is built.
I'm very happy with the way we operate our budget. We do a very good job. We're always within budget. We save money every year. We set money aside. We stretch our money as far as we can. We do a good job of spending our money and staying within our budget. We work very hard to maintain our buildings. We work very hard to do things in the community to make things look good. It's catching. It's kind of like when you paint your building, it makes someone beside you paint your building. When you put out landscaping, someone beside you puts out landscaping. We make things look the best we can with what we have to work with. And there's 120 counties in Kentucky. Every one of them's after jobs. We're after jobs, and we're trying our best to recruit and get jobs. But our best effort right now is to recruit within the industry that we have. And as we build things and we make things look good, people want to come to this community, and then we're having success. We have a lot of opportunity coming. We're so close on so many areas to getting new jobs and new industries, so we need to continue doing what we're doing, making things look good, and making things work.
I don't think a lot of people realize that there are limited places to get money when you're in the government offices. But if you make a budget, we should be able to spend the money as wisely and as effectively as we can. When I was the mayor, I had a great opportunity that I don't know is available today, but there were a lot of grant funds out there, and I was able to get grant funds in the amount of probably about $20 million over the 8 years that I was here. As I said, I don't know if that's the same thing that they're available now, but our budget that we always set is based on the dollars that come into our community, and we just need to be very careful and spend the money the best way that we know how.
Next question, please.
As mayor, what would you do to recruit businesses and industries in order to boost Campbellsville's economy and provide opportunities for workers?
As mayor, to recruit businesses, I talked to the mayor, former mayor of Lebanon, and she said in her 9.5 years as mayor, she recruited 13 industries for the city of Lebanon. Now, Lebanon's not that far away, and they don't have a major highway next to them, so obviously we're not doing something right. So we need to start with our person that we have in charge of recruiting businesses, maybe make that a commission job where they have the incentive and they want to go out and get more industry. It's something that we have to do for our youth to live here, to carry on. So as mayor, I'm going to do my best to get out there and look for industry, contact Frankfurt, see what we need to do.
When Fruit of the Loom left Campbellsville, it affected over 4,000 families. And so since then, we have just gradually went down and down. I've spoke with Mayor Danville, and he told me some insights on things of what he's accomplished. Same thing as Patty stated. If you're not goal-oriented, and you know, if we've got folks that's looking for industry to come here, but they're not driven to draw them in here, then what does it benefit them? It's, well, you've got Amazon, you've got Cox and Tier, and they name off a few, and that's that. But Cox they have lost industry or jobs rather, and they don't employ as many as they used to. So about every person that you talk to, somebody in their family goes out of Campbellsville to work. So we have very little industry here. And I come from a family where both parents worked in factories, and those jobs are just not in Campbellsville. Not unless you are in some other type of profession, you don't have a chance.
As the next mayor, I would work with the economic development, work hand in hand with them. We would have to reach out to these other cities that are growing, as in E-Town, Bowling Green, Hopkinsville, I think, is growing leaps and bounds in industry. Just kind of get some ideas as to where we should go as far as getting these jobs into Campbellsville. Again, we do work together in order to make this, and we will have to get out of Campbellsville, seek information and how to get this industry in here.
Currently, the city's spending about $150,000 a year to invest in the Economic Development Authority. Part of that money goes toward the land that they own in order to offer to industry when they come, and also the rest of it comes to go out and recruit industry. We are so close. There's been so many companies wanting to come to Campbellsville, and what's really rewarding that I see, that I think we're doing a good job, is that our current employers are encouraging their sister companies to come and take a look at Campbellsville. Campbellsville is a wonderful place to live, and we're trying to make Campbellsville look great, make it be appealing, and continue to do this so that we can be ready whenever they come. You know, it's a challenge, it's a very competitive market. So as I said before, we need to recruit the current industry that we have, do all we can to help them and service them and when they need employees, but we also must reach out and do the best we can on trying to continue to look good and be attractive and be a place where people want to be.
I think that one of the things that's hurt Campbellsville in the past has been our location. We're not located near a 4-lane highway or interstate. But I believe with the new bypass that's already started, and they're working on Campbellsville's right now, we're going to see a different, where we see industry looking at it different. As everybody knows, trucking is the only way to carry your goods now, so we need the good highways and the bypasses that we can use to recruit people to come here, because they want to get their product out as fast as they can. There's so many people that work in factories that's just-in-time products. So I think that with better roads, we are going to be better. And I think we need to train our children that are in school to be able to have the skills they need to do the factory jobs as well as medical or whatever that they want to do, but we need better training.
as a general manager of a business now, I look at it from a top's perspective. We have someone in charge that's, our recruiter. And I mean, I don't know the recruiter. I don't know what kind of job they're doing, but I look at it as if you're not doing the job, you got to go and we find somebody that does. That's number one. Number two is going to be who wants to come to a town if we don't fix our roadways? What people want to move to town if they don't have nothing for their kids to do? So with the people not coming to town, businesses are going to look at it as, well, there's more people moving away than moving to your town. Why would we want to put our business there? So I feel like, the pool, the park, adding more things for kids to do, fixing the roads we have now, sprucing up the town, making it look better is going to bring more people in. Another thing I've talked to somebody about is they're talking about businesses want tax breaks. If you give a business a tax break to come, you put them on a contract. If we give you so many years free, you're going to be here for double that. And if you're not, we take you to court, we sue you over the rest of the money, because that's how we're going to keep them here.
Our next question, please.
As mayor, how would you manage and improve Campbellsville's aging infrastructure and venues, such as potholes in the roads, the city pool, etc.?
Well, infrastructure and venues and potholes and roads is a huge thing. I'm one of those that's very picky with my vehicle, so I will avoid certain roads because of potholes. So, and namely one that comes right up next to my house. I live in Johnsport, so you say, well, he'd probably fix his own road. Well, probably so. But as long as everybody else is as well. Those roads, I mean, they need fixing. There again, it costs a huge amount of money to fix those. Is the budget there? I don't know. Blacktopping is not cheap, but it certainly needs fixing. Infrastructure, venues, buildings, the decay around the area needs fixing. And there's been a lot of things that the current mayor, Tony, has done that has improved the looks, and downtown really looks good. Buildings, businesses are coming to Main Street, and I'm glad of that. I'm very thankful. So the city pool certainly is something that has to be addressed because children and, well, people of all ages certainly enjoy that as well.
Okay, as the next mayor, as far as our infrastructure, roads, water, sewer, they are essential to the city's well-being. We will prioritize our infrastructure investments, keeping our existing park systems maintained in order for our children to have a safe and healthy environment. Our family gatherings are there. As far as our pool, we hope to be in discussion to do something. Either we will repair or hopefully in the future we will have something for our children, because our children are our future. And we just need to continue to pursue measures to enhance and better our community for our children and our community members, our taxpayers.
Our city gets about $100,000 a year from the state to maintain our roads. So we have $100,000 to work with to stretch over the whole city. So we have bought our own blacktopping equipment. We're stretching that out and making that go as far as we can, doing the best we can with what we have to work with. That's that's what I've always done. And it's a challenge to do that. We've got our own little thing that will grind up the blacktop and maybe fix a space, because we can't afford to do the whole street. We can only do what's bad. And we don't, there's other municipalities that get over $1 million a year. And that would go a long way, but $100,000 doesn't buy much blacktop. So we're trying to stretch our money, use our own resources, use our own people to stretch our money as far as we can. Pool concern, I love the pool. I grew up at the pool. My children grew up at the pool. It's a challenge. It's a 40-year-old pool. It's been repaired regularly. It's done a good job. It's just owed. It's going to take a lot of money to repair it. So I have a group that's helping us assist, and we're going to bring it to the city council to decide what to do to fix the pool for long term.
I guess I've heard the same comments that everybody else is. Our roads are terrible. Our streets have potholes in them. The pool doesn't work. And all of these things we have to work on, but we also need funds to do that. But I think that we need to look at the money that we have available and see if we can spend it wiser do a better way of maybe select projects that we feel are one or it's more important than the other. But I do feel like the park is important. We have to have a place for our children to play, and we need to work with every dollar that we have. I know we are limited to what money that we have, but what we have, we need to be using it as wisely as we can, every project.
As far as roads, they've got to be fixed. If we get, as Tony says, $100,000 a year, then we've got to figure somewhere else. If that's not going to work, to cut money back to add another 20, 30, 50,000 to it. Because what it boils down to is, as I'm like Roger said, I hate driving certain roads just because I don't want my car to tear up that I've invested a lot of time and money in. So they've got to get fixed, and we've just got to do it. As far as the pool, fixing the pool would be great. I have told many people before, I think we should just dig out the pool and invest the money into an indoor pool. Compare opening a pool 3 months a year to 12 months a year. Taking in $5 a kid for 3 months during the summer versus 12 months out of a year. The money will make it back to pay it off. It takes time. It takes money to make money. I understand we don't have it, but there's resources that will help us get the money in order to redo the pool. And after we do the indoor pool, we look at branching out to add a water park for the summertime. That will draw in even more money.
The first thing I like to say is you don't spend $150,000 on a parking lot. You take that money and you put it towards the pool, or you put it towards potholes. You don't seal manhole covers hoping that the problem will just go away. You start fixing those things, and you have to start somewhere. As mayor, you are the representative of this city. You're our representative to the governor. If you need to go to the governor and talk to him and see if there's money somewhere we can have, then you talk to him. You cut things for other things to be fixed. If you can save money one place, you take it and you put it in another. You don't just let things go until they're at a point to where they can't be fixed, or you have to make something new.
Next question, please.
As mayor, how would you implement and maintain transparency, accountability, and accessibility in your administration?
I believe Mrs. Hoskins Sanders.
Okay. Well, as far as in the administration, in the offices and employees, my plans will be to work on team building. Building is essential to have an open approach. We will have team leaders. They would still be called supervisors, but team leaders. And to build, and as long as, if we can get everybody working on one page, I think that it will improve the city's operational functions, and people will be satisfied. I just think that the more satisfied people are, the better our relationships are, and we can work together to make our city the greatest city ever.
Our transparency with the city is excellent right now. Our door is always open. I love to talk to anybody that wants to come in and talk to me. I look forward to talking to them. I'd be happy to explain anything they've got. Transparency is the easiest thing I have to do. I love to talk to you about anything you want to bring up regarding our finances or our employees or what, because we have a good group of employees. They're outstanding, they're strong, they're professionals, they're really good at what they do, and they are very close and comfortable and feel good with me. I'm very proud of our employees, and we're doing a lot of good. We've come a long way. And so I'm very excited about what we're able to accomplish in our city on a day-to-day basis, and I'm very happy that we're able to accomplish and make a difference in our community and make it look as nice as it is and continue to build and make things better for our community.
I think it's really important to the people in our city that they know exactly what's going on about their money. After all, it's their money. And I think that we need to have open doors. When I was the mayor, my policy was open doors, open records. I never turned anybody away, no matter the situation or how mad they might be. But we need to work together, not just the mayor and the city council, But as a community, we need to work together. We need to discuss the problems we have. We may need volunteers to help when we don't have the funding to do a project. It's not always cut and dry what you can and can't do. So we just need to, if we all work together and if we spend our money wisely and do the things that are most important for the people that live here, I think we'll be okay.
I mean, with the business I'm in now, we hold monthly meetings. I think, as mayor, I would want to hold a monthly meeting with the head of each department just to see where they're at, what their needs are, what their requests are, see how we can help. Because if I don't meet with them on a regular basis and see them daily, 3 months down the road, they may be like, well, hey, I needed this 3 months ago and I didn't know about it. An open door policy is a must. As a general manager now, I answer my phone from 6 a.m. to midnight, and even as later than that if need be. I always want to be there. If I have to meet someone outside of office hours, and you can't meet until after you get off work, if somebody wants to say, hey, we need to discuss this, can we come talk to this? We can go have a cup of coffee, have something to eat, and discuss it. We have to be open to everybody, to listen, not really to give them what they want, but to take their requests, take it before the council, and just to see what we can do to help everyone's needs.
As mayor, the first thing you have to do is you have to listen, and you have to care, and not only for your employees do you have to listen and care, but to the community you have to listen and care. And so I would be that person that would want to sit down with you and listen to what you have to say. If you're an employee of the city, I'm going to ask you about your family. I'm going to know what's going on in your family. If you're a city employee and you're doing a job for the city and I don't know that skill, I'm going to ask you and I'm going to want to help you. I'm going to want to be there to know what you're doing. I will meet with the departments. That's something that I really want to do first thing as mayor is meet with the departments to let them know that I am there for them. And not only can they teach me, I can teach them, so we'll work together. The community, if we do not use our community in listening to them, then we're failing.
As mayor, open door policy is a must. They've all said that. I agree with them 100%. As pastor and in the ministry for 20 years, I already lived that life. Open door policy is me. My phone's never off. If somebody calls at 3 o'clock in the morning, I answer it. It may take a minute or two, but I'll eventually answer it. I live a transparent life. I basically live in a glass house, so to speak. So people know what I do, and if it's open door policy and people can come in and ask, as long as you abide by that, you have nothing to hide. So if there's nothing to hide, you let people come in. Everybody's held accountable from all levels of government. Same thing in the church, from me down to the deacons to the treasurer. Everybody has to work together in order for it to be a successful business or government or church. So transparency is not a problem for me, and I think that the mayor needs to do that. Whoever gets this next opportunity, they need to be transparent.
Next question, please.
As mayor, would you be willing to allow community members to help with or even take charge of community improvement projects for the city of Campbellsville?
Which members?
Community members.
Absolutely. I involve community members now in everything that we do. I reach out to people and ask them for their help and ask them for their support. And absolutely, that's very important that we involve the community. You mentioned 5 days a week. The mayor's job is not 5 days a week. The mayor's job is 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, night and day. And I love to do my job. It's the most exciting job I've ever had. I think we're doing a really good job of transparency. I think we're doing a really good job of reaching out to the community and getting them the information and giving them anything they ask for. Because we have a wonderful bunch of people to work with, and the community is very responsive and very supportive of what we're trying to accomplish here, and I'm very thankful for them.
I think the more people you get involved from the community, the better your government's going to be. The more the people know about what's going on, the more things that are going to be open and people are going to be excited about doing things. You know, everybody has different ideas. We need to listen to all of them because we don't know everything. And I just think that the more people that we can get people on committees. When I was the mayor, I appointed people who'd never been on a committee before, and they learn about the problems, and they learn about the experiences that's happened in the past, and they have examples of things that would be better. They think about things that sometimes we never thought about. So I think it's really important that we work together as a community, a government, and we will be much better the more we work together.
As much as I would love to be Superman, I can't do it all myself. So community involvement is a must. One of the big things I've talked about before with people is I had a guy said, you know, we want to bring back Christmas in the park and make it huge from what it is now to expand the entire park. And a gentleman said, you know, I would love to get a committee of volunteers together and, you know, let us run it. By all means, the more involved they are, the more pride they take in it, the better it's going to be. Like I said, as much as I would love to, you know, I don't want to take over any project. I don't really care about, you know, being the main star of it. I want to be involved to know, you know, to make sure everything that they need to get the project done is they're getting. But if you get more people to step up and say, yes, I'll take the lead on this, they take a sense of pride in it, and it will reflect in the work that they do.
So not being from Campbellsville and just moving here 38 years ago is when I fell in love with Campbellsville. It was my first home. Being from a military family, you move a lot, so you're not in one place at one time. So your community is very important. Of course, I started getting involved, and it gave me a sense of ownership to Campbellsville. And if you can get your community involved in any kind of program like Trace Creek, Miller Park, anything that's going on in the community, it gives those people a sense of ownership, and they're going to be those lasting people that always help out in the community.
Absolutely. I think that you need to have community involvement. Constantly, I appoint people over certain committees in the church, and they take over that project. When that project's done, they have, in a sense, they've owned it. And we do community projects through our church, and we put it on Facebook. We do a lot of things with it. But then not only does that make that individual feel good about it, but all those that participated. So if we go out here and we pick us out 5 or 6 guys or women, and they start a project and they do it, then they feel a sense of ownership. That they're happy that they was able to help in the community. So absolutely, I agree that it's a community-wide effort. It's not just one person. One mayor, one individual cannot do it. It takes a team of folks to get the job done.
Well, being from this community, I lived here all my life. Community involvement is a must. Community members are the taxpayers. We're spending your money to operate the city. Also, my plan will be, well, once we start setting committees for maybe a water committee, any kind of committee that we have to set up on a month-to-month basis, there will be a community member on that committee. Ask me why. The more involved people are, the better our community will be. Not only just the city council people, the mayor, the city clerk, community members need to be involved and voice their opinions about everything that we do.
And our last question for the evening will be, as it stands, 4 cities, counties in the Lake Cumberland District Health Region have approved and are operating syringe exchange programs. Nearby Columbia, Adair County, and Russell Springs in Russell County are among those that have implemented programs, and statistics that show Taylor County citizens are using these programs in other counties. Due to the law that states programs have to be approved by the city and city governments, what are your thoughts on the syringe exchange programs, and would you support implementing one in Campbellsville if you are elected mayor?
Absolutely, I would support, you know, the needle exchange program. Our police department would be probably the leader of that, making that available and making that where that we can work with that. It's something that's, I think is extremely important, and I would love to see that do it and be always open to supporting that in any way that I can.
I'm sorry, but I did not understand what you said.
Syringe exchange programs, they are popping up in nearby counties. If you were elected mayor, would you support implementing syringe exchange programs in Campbellsville?
I think the more people that you get involved in any project, the better it is, because people have great ideas, and if we don't listen to different ideas, we never learn anything. So I think it'd be a great idea.
I think it would be great to implement. We should start there. Our biggest issue is not just, to me, is not just a needle exchange program, but combating a drug problem, together, all together, and working our way to eliminate the drugs, the dealers, the users, helping put whatever we can do to help, get the ones that are on drugs that want off, getting them help. One of the big things is, I want to be, involved in, what it takes to help combat the drug issue. One thing I've stated before is I'd love to, spend days, nights, weekends, weekdays, holidays, whatever, riding around with police officers, paramedics, seeing what they're seeing, because they're the ones that are actually combating it. We hear about it, we don't see it. They're the ones that are out there. So if I can get a first eye view of what they're dealing with, then I can bring it before, the city council or the community and say, look, this is what we need to do to help. This is what's going to help them combat this problem and stop it altogether.
We've got to do something about our drug problem. For years, it was just kind of swept under the rug. It was just not noticed. And I left work a couple weeks ago, and there was a syringe under my car. So I called the police department, and they sent a sheriff, and he came and got it. And that's right there on Main Street. So we've got to do something. We can't just let it, pass over thinking it'll get better. So, yeah, I think we should.
Well, it's a huge problem. In the school system, they have it. We have it in local areas. It amazes me that it's gotten to this level, and very little effort, not just in our city, but statewide, has been done to rectify it. So there again, I think that if you find out the source of the problem and who's dealing it, who's selling it, how is it getting out into the hands of underage kids, that's what kills me. And they're getting it, so what are we doing to get it off the street? How are we combating that issue? And so often we know it's happening, but we do nothing to stop it as a whole. So yes, I agree, we certainly need something to help that issue.
Well, drug abuse has been an issue for Campbellsville, the city of Campbellsville, and many other cities for years. We just have to have a strong motivation to rally in our communities to fight for our public health. And yes, I would support the needle exchange process.
Thank you. We'll begin with our closing statements, starting with Mr. Robertson.
I would hope that you would consider me for your next mayor. Some people say, well, you've had no experience in government. That's true, I have not. I've been in the public eye for 20 years, obviously different platform. I would work just as hard for the city as I do my church. I invest time, talent, effort. My family backs me 100%. My wife backs me, my parents, my grandmother. So I have a ton of support, and I will work just as hard for you as I do the church. My phone is never off. You always will have access to me if elected mayor. I will have an open door policy. I will be the citizens' mayor.
The voters and the citizens of the community have an amazing opportunity for the next 4 years. You get to choose who you want to be your mayor. I want to say to you that I'm going to do that job for you. So I ask you for your vote, put me in office, and let me show you what I can do.
I'd just like to say, the best, I want to invite everybody to, check out my Facebook page, because that's where I put all my ideas. Take the time to read it. I put out many ideas, many thoughts. I'm not up here, as my mom always told me, to blow smoke. I'm not doing this for money or fame. I'm doing this because I want a city that my kids, my future grandkids, your all's kids, grandkids, and everybody can be proud of, a city that will grow. But we have to focus on the future now. You can't wait and put it off and think, well, we'll do it tomorrow. We'll think about it tomorrow. The focus on the future of Campbellsville is now. If it doesn't start now, then where does it go from here? We can't keep letting it, keep going backwards. The saying is 1 step forward, 5 steps backwards. We need to step 5 steps forward and just keep going.
I've had the opportunity to be the city clerk for 4 years, the mayor for 8 years, and I love to work with the people. Every day you have problems, but it's a challenge if you can change those problems and if you can change just one person's life every day. I think we have an awesome city. I think the citizens in this community are the best in the world, and I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. I've always had an open door policy. Any problem you have, my door is always open. Anything you need to talk about. I feel like the employees of the city are absolutely awesome. If you've never been an employee of a city, you have no idea how much responsibility that you have and how much you have to do to keep the world going. But I really hope that you'll consider me as the mayor for 8 more years, because I really would like to serve this community. It's the best place in the world.
There's new Campbellsville beautification projects, new green spaces, renovations, clean water projects, parks and recreation, roads and trails. And there's more improvements going on now in downtown Campbellsville than we've seen in decades. Campbellsville is growing. There's excitement in the air. People are getting involved because they see the future, what can be done under my leadership, and the proof is in the projects I just mentioned. We've cleaned up the house. We're ready for company to come, and we're open for businesses and people to come and make Campbellsville their new home. And guess what? The best is yet to come. I'm not finished. I'm the mayor who builds things. I strive to make things better, and with your help, we will do it together. So go vote to re-elect your mayor, Tony Young.
Well, I do have a passion for Campbellsville as my lifetime home. As your next mayor of Campbellsville, my duties will be to oversee the operational functions of this city, to work with the city clerk, budgeting and human resource issues, work alongside department heads to assure that all employees are working to their capacity. Once we get that going, I think everything else falls in place. Like I say, as we work together to grow our city. Campbellsville is a beautiful place. We've had growth, but there's more to be done. And I want to be that mayor that'll work with you, this community, and my staff to get the work done.
Once again, thank you all for joining us this evening. And if you do have any additional questions, you may fill out the forms on the table to your right as you exit the sanctuary. If you are a student and you are here to receive chapel credit as well, there will be a sign-up sheet on that table as well. Once again, thank you all for coming and participating in our forum. Please do remember to vote at the end of this month in the primaries, and we will see you again in the city. Thank you all.